What's going on, everybody? This is Chrome Rat. Welcome to the Rat's Nest, where we dive into immersive storytelling, modded chaos, and survival-driven adventures across all kinds of games. If you're new, make yourself at home. If you're returning, glad to have you back. Don't forget to like the video, drop your thoughts in the comments, and join the Rat's Nest so you don't miss the next chapter. We are diving into Kenshi today. Kenshi, a very special game. A very brutal game with a huge emphasis on survival. I had an idea for a survival run based on a mod that I downloaded called Rock Bottom. Rock Bottom is basically a start where you have 0 cats, which is the currency in this world. You have no clothing, you have no companions, you are alone, and you're missing a limb. So you've hit absolute rock bottom. You are alone, unarmed, naked, and hungry, lost in the middle of a harsh desert teeming with slavers, and you just lost an arm. Good luck. Just getting into the character creator here, we have a few different options in front of us. Race, we could be human, we could be hive, which is a bug species. Fungoid, which I think is a modded species I've added in here. Southern hive, looks like they have some kind of bizarre affinity for machinery or something. Shek, like a warrior race. We'll stay human. Skeleton missing a head. That's kind of hard to think about, how that would be feasible. So each of the races has sub-races. We have human here, human cannibal, you can be a cannibal. Scorchlander. Scorchlander has a lot of bonuses to their stats, but they are vilified pretty much everywhere we go and cannot even traverse the Holy Nation, which is a faction in Kenshi that really just doesn't like anyone. We're going to go with Greenlander, a farming people. Get a bonus to some stats here. I don't know how relevant they're going to be for this playthrough yet. Primarily from farmer cultures, they still tend to be an aggressive race and are easily led astray. The worst of them live in ignorance, knowing only greed and fear, reacting to anything different with hatred and violence. But the best of them are some of the greatest civilized scientists, engineers, and warriors in the land. Kind of like real life, right? I don't like to mess with the body. We don't want to get any weird Monster Factory stuff going on here. We'll play with the face a little bit. We'll deviate slightly from the default setting here. Space the eyes a little bit. Wow, that's full crackhead mode there. We've seen some shit. We will go down more of a Clint Eastwood path here. Okay. As far as names go, I was thinking of doing trying to do some martial arts and stuff. Maybe Blunt. Maybe we'll just name her Blunt. Try to do some blunt weapons and stuff. And that's Blunt. Let's get started. Alright. We are indeed in the middle of the Great Desert. Doesn't look great to me, but looks pretty empty to me. Oop. Let's pause the game really quick. Let me give you a quick rundown of what you're seeing on the screen here if this is your first time seeing Kenshi. We have Blunt, our Greenlander, who has just woken up in the desert and is missing an arm. This is Blunt right here. Take a screenshot there. Blunt has nothing going on as far as their state, so just everything seems normal. They don't have a goal. You can add jobs down here in the right. I like to add medic. If you shift click, This means that you will self-heal if something happens to you and have bandages. You can also shift-click rescue, which will help if you have companions. Automatically goes and heals them and puts them in a bed and tends to them. So there's a lot of automation here that you can do. Athletics XP, I'm basically running an open desert. There's nothing hindering me. So I'm getting a bonus to my XP for athletics. You'll see strength XP. If you're carrying a lot, you can get a lot more XP and a lot of multipliers added to your XP gains. Toughness XP, this is how often you get beat up and how you can take a beating and how often you'll get up. KO point is a reflection of your toughness, which is how low your HP can drop before you pass out and need assistance. Running speed, we're going 14 miles an hour right now. That's a reflection of your athletics skill. Pull up the skills menu. Our athletics is 1. Everything is 1 right now. So we are a fresh spawn trash character. Martial arts. Strength, all of those. Dodge. These are all pretty straightforward. So let's pull up the map real quick. We're still paused. You'll see we have a pretty large map here of the world of Kenshi. All surrounded by water. It's like we're on a giant continent here. We are in the Great Desert in the northeast here. And these are the United Cities. We have Sho-Battai, Stoat, Heft, and Bark. On the border with the Holy Nation here, separated by the skim sands. So I would expect to see some battles, some confrontation. And right now we just want to get to the nearest town, so I think we're going to try to head over to Sho-Battai. We do see a military outpost here, so it looks like probably the good idea would be to go there first. Alright, and we're off. We want to be very careful out in the open desert here. There are a lot of potential hazards. Roaming gangs, slavers, the local wildlife. You'll notice we are gaining XP and athletics just from running. This is the type of game where you gain experience by doing. We are kind of cooked out here. We are in the middle of the desert. We have nothing to our name. And we're probably going to run into trouble at some point. But for now, we're just going to run over here to this military outpost, which looks to be populated. Don't see anything around me. If we zoom ahead, and I'll pause it, you'll see that we have members of the United Cities here that are holding it down in the military supply outpost, covering their heads because it's sunny out. I don't think that these people are going to cause us any problems. If it were the Holy Nation, maybe different. They hate women. But the United Cities at least has some diversity, even though they are also slavers. We can go into sneak mode as well and maybe get a little sneak XP. I don't think that's going to bother anyone. I don't see anything coming. So let's hide behind here, back behind this little house here, or shed. I don't know what it is. Supply post. Yeah, it's just the house. And we can speed up time. We'll put it on 2x. We can put it on 3x and go even faster. And if we just run back and forth here, you'll see our stealth is gaining XP, 61%. You can also see our stealth score in the bottom left. It is now at 1 plus 1, so 2. Now we're at 2 naturally. So our numbers are going up. We like when numbers go up. Just kind of cruising around here, getting a little bit of strength XP. You'll notice that our hunger is going down. If you reach a certain point, your hunger will drop and you'll pass out. Oh, we have an incoming skimmer here. Let me explain that in a second. So We don't want that to happen. If you pass out from being too hungry, you will not wake up until you get food, which means you could die. We have a confrontation here between a skimmer, which is a giant desert-faring creature with basically razor-sharp claws that will rip you to pieces. They roam in packs, sometimes solo, and we're going to watch the samurai here try to fight it. They are very dexterous and quick, very agile. Oof, but they did manage to take him out. So, let's see if they will mind if I go check out the skimmer. It looks like, if we zoom in here, the skimmer is unconscious for 163 more seconds. So what we can do is we can actually butcher the skimmer right here. We will cut some steaks off of it. Not all of it's edible, it looks like. And we will cut the claws right off of it. And if you are into stolen valor, this is what it looks like, right? My kill! Right? Alright, so we have steaks. There's a campfire conveniently right here. We can cook those up. So we'll add the raw meat to the inventory. Unpause the game. This is how you cook. Pause it here. Cooking is also one of the skills. So you'll notice we got 20% cooking skill here. And because we're a Greenlander, we have a racial XP bonus of 20%. So you see 1.2x for cooking. Cooking is important, so we don't die. So we are fed now. We have increased our stealth skill, increased our athletics. We still have no gear. Oh. Looks like we have a pack of slavers over there to the southeast. But for now, I think we want to head up to Sho-Battai. If there's no more action to be had here at the military supply post for now. Heading into the open desert is very dangerous, of course. We just saw the types of creatures that you can encounter. Those samurai had very heavy armor on. We do not have anything. So that would be a bad day for us running into a skimmer. And we probably wouldn't survive, but we do have a little bit of food and some animal claws to sell. And so thus starts the adventure of Blunt. It seems there's a battle going on over here. It looks like we have some Garu, which are like pack animals. We're not going to worry about that. We're going to keep running. We also have what looks like a starving vagrant. So the starving vagrants also right now are pretty dangerous for us. Let's slow it down a little bit. I know it sounds crazy, but we have 0 stats and haven't fought anything yet. And even fighting with one arm is really, really difficult. So we will continue on to Sho-Battai. We have another crossing wanderer here. Weak. He is a drifter. I don't think he wants anything to do with us, so we'll continue on. Athletics 5. Let's slow this down. Who do we have over here? Samurai, I think will be okay. We're just heading to the Samurai City. With Blunt of the Nameless. Blunt of the Nameless. We'll change our squad name later, but for now, we just woke up in the desert. We don't really have a backstory. We probably were dropped there by some vagrants, or maybe some cannibals who decided my arm was their tipping point for being full, and they decided not to eat the rest of me. Whatever the case, I am in the desert. I am running. Let's speed up the time here a little bit. You can speed up the time in Kenshi to 3 times, but be very cautious, because that means that everything else around you is also going 3 times as fast, including skimmers, and those are already extremely fast. So we have arrived at the city of Sho-Battai, I believe, yeah, from the military supply post. So a little jaunt across the desert. It looks like there's a copper ore node here. So instead, let's go see if we can get some copper ore going just for a little bit so we can make some money. So we are mining right now just for a few ore. I am extremely slow. My mining skill, or my laboring skill, is 1, and I have 1 arm. And I'm hungry. So that's going to be hard for me to be efficient, be productive, or anything of the sort. Now, normally when mining, I would speed it up, so let's do that. We have enough people around that if there's a skimmer, they'll probably aggro onto the people around me, but you never know. We just want a couple pieces of ore to get a little coin in our pocket. Some cats, the currency in Kenshi. Imagine a coin with a hole in the middle, and they're kept on strings. Alright, we've mined our first copper ore. So we've got a little trove of loot going here. Let's get one more piece of ore. Let's get one more piece of ore. And then let's see if we can walk into town without any clothes on. That is going to be its own challenge, it seems. Looks like there's some fighting going on in town over here. What do we have? We have Holy Nation scouts fighting samurai. I don't know how they got in. Well, it looks like those might have been some of the gate guards. This person wasn't paying attention at all. He's willfully looking the other direction. Alright, we're going to keep mining until we have one more ore. You don't want to get too greedy, because out here in the open desert, a skimmer can just pop up and slice your head off, so be careful. These are peasants, so I don't think we have anything to worry about there, because we are also an Empire peasant now. If you think about it, go on through, peasant, go on through, peasant. Let's go to the bar. A naked person with one arm walks into a bar. The barman says, "Can I hand you a drink?" Let's do business. The barman has a Leviathan packs. A Leviathan pack. I think this is a gigantic backpack that would fit right there, but we don't have enough money for that. We don't have any money, so let's sell this stuff. Now we have 976 cats down here on the right. C976. I am going to buy a food cube. This will keep us fed. Has 75 nutrition. Let's see real quick. This has 15 nutrition. This has 50 and is 607. 607. This looks to be scaled appropriately, so let's take that. Alright, we ate a food cube, which looked like a mix of bread and green fruit, so Whatever a green fruit is, hopefully it's tasty. We can go back to mining if I can remember where the node is. Right here. Alright, let's speed up time. We're actually going to build and fill our inventory up with ore. And that way, we can get our encumbrance rate up. Because right now we're at 0 encumbrance, right? We are weightless, but we want to build our strength up. Strength is a very important stat here in Kenshi. It determines your ability to use heavy weapons and armor without tiring, and to carry heavy loads, including your wounded comrades. Strength affects the blunt damage you do with heavy weapons, hacking-type blades, and while unarmed. It is trained faster by using heavier weapons in battle, or by traveling around with a very heavy inventory or encumbrance. So yeah, we want a heavy encumbrance. We want to train our blunt damage, right? Because that's our name. But we also don't want to encounter any skimmers. We want to build basically a shell around us. We are a fragile egg right now in the desert. Sand blowing against us, but we can be cracked. We can be easily cracked. So, we need better armor, better strength, better toughness, the ability to run faster. We need to get strong so we can push back against the forces of this desert and beyond. We have very low efficiency working in the dark. You'll see that we're working in darkness. Our labor skill is 7, but it's 56% debuffed. 56% debuffed to 3. So, unfortunately, we're going to mine a lot less in the dark. But, what else do we have to do, right? There's nothing else to do. Except for watch for skimmers and try to extract some kind of value out of this barren land. There are constant little groups of people walking around. Here it looks like we have a couple of badasses, right? We've got Giannis, it said, right? Giannis. And we have Yosef. Both of them pretty tough. She's a beast with 67 toughness. So they're not our enemy, but so that gives me a little comfort. It means that any skimmers that come around, well, if I see them coming, and they don't show up in the middle of the sand cloud blowing here, then I could maybe rest knowing that some of these guards around me, some of these patrons of Sho-Battai will protect me. Unfortunately, that's not really how Kenshi works, so it's probably just copium. Probably just copium. Alright, we now have 3 ore, which sets our encumbrance still at 0. So we have a strength of 1. I think it's going to take a little bit more ore than 3 to boost up our encumbrance level. Looks like we had some Garu come by here. I was talking about these earlier. These are pack animals in Kenshi. They're a little derpy looking. Pretty funny. Alright, back to the mine. Back to the grind. It really is a grind at this point. I don't know how else to describe it. But it's also a tense grind because you are very weak, like I mentioned earlier. And our stats are going up a little bit, but not in combat. So we are still very weak when it comes to fighting. We don't have a weapon, we don't have clothes. But I'm keeping an eye out. Sometimes we can get lucky if there are fights going on around us. Things of that nature. We're starting to see our encumbrance go up here to 26%. Moderate weight. So we need to be at a heavy weight. And right now we are at a moderate weight. I'm gonna hide that extra detail there. Looks like I ate my entire food cube already. I think your hunger rate multiplies when you're working. So if you look down here, it says current work 1.2x, encumbrance effect 1.16x. So the trade-off here is that I'm losing more food when I'm working. So it might be a good idea to not work at night and continue to mine during the day, and maybe we can do some sneaking around and strength training at night in the city while keeping a side eye out for skimmers and all sorts of other nasty things. And we will leave the episode there with Blunt mining away at this piece of copper detritus. Thanks for hanging out in the Rat's Nest. If you enjoyed the episode, hit like, drop a comment, share your thoughts with the rest of the rats. I read all the comments. Make sure you're subbed, and ring the bell so you don't miss the next chapter. Until then, stay sharp, stay scrappy, and I'll see you in the next one.